She counted the coins twice, her fingers trembling slightly, then looked up with a smile so gentle it almost hurt to see. The line behind her was growing impatient, the cashier was tired, and the man standing a few steps away in a tailored suit barely noticed her at first. He was used to numbers far larger than the few coins resting on the counter. But that small sound, metal touching metal, would follow him for the rest of his life. Ethan Cole had built his world on speed. Decisions in seconds, deals in minutes, profits measured in millions. As CEO of one of the fastest-growing retail chains in the country, his days were a blur of meetings, flights, and contracts. That afternoon, he had stopped by one of his own stores unannounced, a habit he maintained to remind himself that he was still connected to the ground reality of his business. At least, that was what he told himself. The store was crowded, buzzing with ordinary life. Parents tugged tired children, workers grabbed quick meals, elderly customers moved slowly through the aisles. Ethan stood near the checkout, pretending to scroll through his phone while actually observing. He liked to see how employees behaved when they did not know who he was. That was when he noticed her. She was young, perhaps late 20s, with worn shoes and a simple dress faded from too many washes. Her hair was neatly tied back, though a few loose strands framed her face. She held a small packet of bread and a carton of milk, nothing more. When the cashier announced the total, she hesitated for a brief second, then opened a small cloth pouch and poured its contents into her palm. Coins. Only coins. The people behind her sighed. Someone muttered something under their breath. The cashier's smile tightened. Ethan felt a flicker of irritation too, not at her, but at the delay. His schedule was tight. He had a call in 10 minutes. She counted carefully, apologizing softly as she did. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice calm but tired. "I think it's enough." The cashier counted again and shook her head. "You're short." The woman looked down, then up again, that same gentle smile returning as if it were a shield. "Then please remove the milk," she said. "The bread is enough." Something shifted in Ethan's chest. He did not know why. Maybe it was the way she did not argue. Maybe it was how easily she gave up what was likely the most important item. Before he could stop himself, he stepped forward. "It's fine," he said, placing a bill on the counter. "Keep the milk." She turned to him, startled. Her eyes were dark and expressive, filled with gratitude and something else he could not immediately name. Pride, perhaps, or sadness. "Oh no," she said quickly. "Thank you, but I can't." "It's nothing," he interrupted, already uncomfortable with the attention. "Please." She hesitated, then nodded. "Thank you," she said again, softly. "You're very kind." She gathered her items and left, her shoulders straight, her steps unhurried. Ethan watched her go, feeling strangely unsettled. Kindness was not something that usually followed him home. That night, he could not sleep. Her face kept appearing in his mind, not as an image of poverty or struggle, but of dignity. He had seen countless charity cases, countless stories designed to pull at the heartstrings. But this was different. She had not asked. She had not complained. She had smiled. The next day, Ethan asked the store manager about her. The manager shrugged. "She comes often. Always polite. Lives nearby, I think. Works at the public clinic down the road." That surprised him. "She works." "Yes, sir. Nurse, maybe. Or assistant. I'm not sure." A nurse counting coins for bread and milk. The thought followed him into meetings, into presentations filled with growth charts and expansion plans. For the first time in years, the numbers felt hollow. A week later, Ethan returned to the store at the same time of day. He waited. When she appeared, carrying the same cloth pouch, he felt his heart beat faster, an unfamiliar sensation. This time, he did not step in line behind her. Instead, he approached her near the entrance. "Excuse me," he said. She looked wary at first, then recognition dawned. "You," she said, smiling. "From the store." "My name is Ethan," he said. "I wanted to apologize if I embarrassed you the other day." Her eyes widened. "You didn't. You helped me." "I know. I wondered if you'd like to have coffee with me." "As thanks." She studied him carefully. He could see the calculation in her eyes, not of gain, but of safety. Finally, she nodded. "All right. But just coffee." Her name was Lena. "Over coffee." Ethan learned more than he had expected. Lena worked long hours at an understaffed clinic, caring for patients who could not afford private hospitals. Her mother was ill, requiring medication not fully covered by insurance. Lena's salary barely stretched far enough, but she refused to quit. "If I leave," she said simply, "who will help them?" Ethan listened, really listened, for the first time in years. He did not check his phone. He did not think about the next meeting. He thought about the distance between his world and hers, and how invisible that distance had been to him until now. Their meetings became regular. Coffee turned into walks. Walks turned into conversations that stretched late into the evening. Lena challenged him without realizing it. She spoke about fairness, about people being more than profit margins. She did not accuse him. She did not even know who he truly was. When she finally found out, it was accidental. A magazine article lay on the clinic's waiting room table, featuring Ethan on the cover. Lena froze when she saw the name. That evening, she confronted him, hurt and confused. "Why didn't you tell me?" He had no good answer. "I was afraid," he admitted. "Afraid you'd see me differently." "I already do," she said quietly. "Not because you're rich, but because you didn't trust me." That was their first real challenge. Trust. Lena pulled away, unsure whether his kindness had been genuine or a momentary act of guilt. Ethan, for the first time, fought not for a deal, but for a person. He showed up at the clinic, volunteering anonymously. He listened to the stories of patients. He saw, with painful clarity, how his company's low wages and rising prices affected people like Lena. The second challenge was harder. His board resisted change. Wage increases, employee benefits, price caps for essential goods, all threatened profit margins. "This is not charity," one executive snapped. "This is business." Ethan remembered the coins on the counter. He remembered the smile. "If our business cannot support the people who keep it alive," he said, "then it deserves to fail." The votes were divided. Investors threatened to pull out. The media speculated. Ethan lost sleep, lost friends, lost his sense of certainty. But he did not lose Lena's respect. Slowly, changes were implemented. Not all at once, not perfectly, but wages rose. Clinics partnered with stores to offer discounts on essentials. Employees were given voices. The company's growth slowed, but something else grew in its place. Trust. Months later, Ethan returned to the same store, this time openly, his identity known. He watched as an elderly man paid for groceries with coins, and no one sighed. The cashier smiled patiently. A sign above the counter read, "Everyone deserves dignity." Lena stood beside him, her hand in his. Her mother's health had improved. Lena still worked at the clinic, by choice, not necessity. "Do you remember that day?" Ethan asked softly. She nodded. "I didn't think it mattered. It changed everything," he said. The world did not become perfect. Challenges remained, but Ethan was no longer blind to them. He had learned that leadership was not about standing above others, but standing with them. And it all began with a few coins, and a smile that refused to disappear, even when the world tried to make it fade.